Happy Saturday. How is everyone? 7:11 a.m. Saturday, January 21. You know, in life, they say, seize the day. Carpe diem, is that what it is? And that even means the weekends. Sometimes. So today, I'm going to heed the advice and get started on the Philadelphia Inquirer. Nice and early. And then we can do the New York Times subsequently. Did your paper come yet? Sometimes weekends it comes a little bit later. Maybe the delivery guy's like, I'm going to snooze a little bit today. I'm going to snooze. Assuming that his customers are also snoozing. Not realizing that one of his customers does a daily newspaper read. Wants to by around 7 o'clock every day. So it's very important that it shows up. And it did. All right, so if you did get yours, we're going to open it up. We're going to take it out of the plastic as we speak. Now, right now. Boom. And we're going to look at it together. Again, the Saturday papers typically are a little bit less substantive in terms of heft and thickness, which is fine. But still need to be separating sections, though. That always persists. So let's do that. Let's get into it. Separating us at home. Nice to see Hank Aaron's passing on the front page. Should be. My guess is it's also going to be on the New York Times front page, but we'll find that out. Everybody good today? A little chilly outside here in PA. Here in this part of PA, southeastern PA. Yeah, look at that. 3 sections. Boy, we're going to tear through this. There he is. Prognosticators MVP right there. Pundits MVP. Pundits exist beyond politics, right? You could be a pundit in sports. I mean, pundit is a pundit, right? Yeah, I was going to say, let's just go right to sports. I mean, why not? And then we can just get that out of the way. Anybody watch the game last night? Nationally televised ESPN game. Celtics, Sixers. Sixers win. Of course, Friday's game ended too late for this edition. Coverage at Inquirer.com. I know. From watching the game, it was a 122, I believe 122-113 win, something like that. Embiid had another 35, 10 boards. Just manhandling people. Just like, yo. Hey, Embiid's here. Okay, guys, get out of the way. Here he is. 10-5 now? 11-5? 11-5? Let's just go with the standings and see. They were 10-5 before this edition, but the 10-5 plus 1, 11-5. Here's a little piece on the Flyers letting their guard down. They've allowed more than 30 shots in every game. They played tonight against the Boston Bruins, trying to avenge a tough loss 2 nights ago. Maybe they can talk Matt Niskanen into reconsidering his retirement. Maybe general manager Chuck Fletcher, who, according to a league source, tried to sign defenseman Travis Hamonic in the offseason, can pull off a trade. Maybe the defense will improve as the new pairings get accustomed to one another. And center Sean Couturier, the Selke winner as the league's best defensive forward last year, and Phil Myers returned from injuries. Important to note, Couturier's out, Myers is out, Frost is out. 3 good players. Well, yeah, 3 good players, but Frost, you can't really count him in the plans for the season. But still, Couturier, you have a Selke winner who's not playing. But right now, the Flyers, despite their misleading 3-1-1 record, are a hot mess in the defensive end. In their first 5 games, goalies Carter Hart and Brian Elliott have probably felt like ducking for cover. Pucks came at them at an alarming rate. The Flyers have allowed 37.4 shots per game, the second highest in the NHL. A year ago, they allowed a league-low 28 shots a game. Wow. They have surrendered 34, 33, 37, 40, and 43 shots in 5 straight games over the 5 last games. We have to clean up some areas, like turnovers. There's been too many in our zone, in the neutral zone, said defenseman Ivan Provorov. Well, the season's young. I mean, it's young. So you look at what's going on. You look at this shot allowance. You got to get down and block pucks. I wonder how many block pucks Niskanen had. Speaking of him. No, we'll see if they can bring those down tonight. How Sirianni conducts himself in media sessions, he's poised and thoughtful. Does that matter too much? I guess it matters to Les Bowen and the media folks, but poised and thoughtful, huh? On the Indianapolis Colts website, there are archived video news conferences with Sirianni, recorded as the team moved down the stretch of its 11-5 season. In those media appearances, the Indianapolis offensive coordinator under Coach Frank Reich comes off as affable and articulate, unflappable, generously praised for his players and for other Colts coaches. Great. Can he win football games? I don't care if he comes off, sits at the podium and is like this. I'm out. You can sit there in complete silence for 45 minutes. You can sit there on your Game Boy playing Tetris, with earphones on, eating beef jerky for 45 minutes. If you go 16-0, I don't give it. Remember, this is a family program. What else we got in this section? We're going to move pretty quick through it. Yep, that's it. And that's all. Today's weather. Whoa, a high of 54. Oh, sorry, 34. That makes more sense. Low of 24 tonight. Well, the Sixers also play tonight? Well, what about that against the Pistons? I missed that. Gonna have 2 games going. Gonna have to get that split screen set up. Gonna have to get both your monitors set up. Fortunately. One, 2. I'm all ready to go. What's the Pistons record? 3-11. Should be a win. You would think. Should be a W for the Philadelphia 76ers. Everybody. Tonight, sunset, 5:10 p.m. Oh, buried this article on the back page, but it's big news. Mahomes cleared to play. AFC title game. Yeah, it was, to me, I was talking to a friend of mine about this. Now, you want it to be a thorough review, of course, and check all the boxes. And obviously, you don't want to put anybody's health at risk, safety at risk, future at risk. Who knows? But, I mean, he'd have to be really just pretty much bedridden, I would think. Dizzy. It's a shame, but that's my take for them not to put him in the AFC Championship game. Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes was cleared Friday from the league's concussion protocol after his third consecutive day of practice and will be under center when Kansas City plays the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship game. Quote, "This week has been a bunch of testing, a bunch of different things to make sure I'm good to go and there's no lingering effects and things like that," Mahomes said. "Everything has been good. I went through everything. 3 or 4 different doctors have said everything is looking good." Great. So now we get to see what we all want to see. Let's face it. We want to see Mahomes Allen. We do. We want to see that matchup. It's going to be a good game. And if, God bless Chad Henne, but we want to see Mahomes. Ready for resign? What do you think? Okay. Let's do it. I feel like I'm missing a section, I feel like it's light. Usually there's like a life section or something. It's the Saturday Slim. All right, open your region section, please. Turn to page 1. Look to your right. Kenny may be eyeing Senate. A source adds the mayor to a list of many considering a run for the open PA seat. Try and make it a transition. Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney is considering a run for Pennsylvania's open U.S. Senate seat next year, according to a source with direct knowledge of his thinking, even as he continues to also weigh a possible campaign for governor. Feels I thought his knees coming on. I thought his knees approaching. Quote, "The priority is the pandemic and getting everybody vaccinated. That's his primary focus, among other issues," the source said, speaking on the condition of anonymity. But the governor's race and possibly the Senate race are considerations. All right, Kenny, you got to eye up your future. Nothing wrong with planning ahead. Sorry, my nose now is a little bit sniffly. What happens when you sneeze? Happens to all of us. I don't think. Underneath the fold, a column from Janice Armstrong. Lives lost. It's time to treat gun violence as a public health emergency. It is. The young, aimless men who shoot up our city night after night need to feel the pain of the destruction they leave in their wake. It wouldn't be the ceaseless carnage. It wouldn't stop the ceaseless carnage. But they need to at least see the tears their actions cause. I couldn't help but think about this last week while participating in a Zoom call organized by Darren Tolliver, co-founder of the Black Men at Penn School of Social Work, featuring relatives of homicide victims. It was intense. The pain was as raw as if the shootings that took their loved ones just happened. It was hard to watch. Aisha Drayton went first. Her son, Isaiah George, 18, had been home from Albany State University on winter break in 2018 when he got a call and went outside to meet someone. His body was found outside their home. We later learned that Izir was robbed and shot. In College Drayton, who lived in Atlanta at the time, they got nothing. They took my son's life for nothing. Nashira Roden's niece, Sandra Williams, was just 17 when she was killed in May 2018. She had gotten her first car, a silver 2009 Nissan Sentra, and driven to her mother's house in West Philly. She had just left her mother's front steps when 23 shots rang out, one of them mortally wounding her. You can't get over it. It was 2018. The pain is like it was just yesterday, Roden said, breaking into tears. Give me 29 seconds to blow my nose, if you don't mind. Be right back. See? Not too bad. A bit clearer now. Time don't heal this wound. Justice has not been served because the questions are why, who, and none of those questions are answered. We're barely into 2021 and Philly already has upward of 30 homicide victims. At this rate, we could easily surpass last year's 499 slayings, the highest in 30 years. I've been writing about this issue for years and remain convinced that limiting the number of illegal guns will go a long way. But since that's not happening anytime soon, we need to figure out what can be done in the meantime. We need the same hands-on-deck approach to gun violence that we have given to the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, it's a problem. There's the most recent tragedy, or one of the most recent tragedies. There's that 9-year-old who was accidentally killed when she found a unsecured handgun in her house. Public health emergency. I don't know why we have to have so many guns. You know, when the founders came up with the Second Amendment, it was like, I don't know, a different time. There weren't like Uzis and Glocks and AKs and everything else. There was a fear that, you know, militias would be somehow community militias would somehow be required due to, I don't know, whatever the thinking was. I'm not even going to try to. I'm not going to try to project too much back to 1787 or 1776 or 1762, whenever it was that the idea that we have to have guns was enshrined into this Constitution when that started being formulated amongst the white men who created it. But, like most things over 200 plus years old, fresh look is good. Hey, how does this apply to today? Is that just too above our capability as humans to just do that together and say, hey, maybe what they envisioned back when they made this, before there were automatic machine guns and other, exotic killing devices and weapons, maybe now's the time to say, wait, let's update this for 2021. PA victim advocate plans to resign. She says it is untenable to remain amid a political feud with legislative Republicans. Pennsylvania's chief advocate for crime victims announced Friday that she will resign her position, saying it was untenable to remain in the high-profile job amid a public political feud with legislative Republicans. Jennifer Storm, the state's victims advocate since 2013, called her decision to leave at the end of the month gut-wrenching. But she said it would be a mistake to remain in the $133,000 a year position after the GOP-controlled state Senate late last year blocked her from serving another 6 years. Storm said has said she believes the Senate's rejection of her is the direct result of a, quote, vendetta by the chamber's one-time top Republican, Joe Scarnetta of Jefferson County. Storm and Scarnetta were on opposite sides of an emotionally charged debate in 2018 over giving victims of long-ago child sexual abuse a chance to sue the perpetrators and institutions that covered up the crimes. There's a Virginia man arrested in November, back in jail. Philadelphia judge increased the bail for attending the January 6th deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol. 2 Donald Trump supporters arrested in November on weapons charges near the convention center, while votes from the presidential election were being counted inside, were back in custody Friday after a Philadelphia judge increased their bail for attending the January 6th deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol. During a combative hearing at the Stout Center for Criminal Justice in Center City, which included contempt charges against defense lawyer William J. Brennan, no evidence was presented that the defendants, Joshua Macias, and Antonio LaMotta, entered the Capitol building along with thousands who battled with law enforcement and ransacked offices. But Assistant District Attorney Andrew Wellbrock presented video evidence that the 2 Virginia men were on the Capitol grounds that Wednesday and argued they violated their previous bail conditions in Philadelphia. Macias, 42, was shown comparing then Vice President Mike Pence to an 18th century traitor, as LaMotta, 61, served as his bodyguard, the prosecutor said. I don't know. I don't know. I can't keep up with these idiots. I really can't. What is wrong with these people? Brennan, who represents Macias, and defense attorney Lauren A. Wimmer, who represents LaMotta, argued that their clients broke no law just by being on the Capitol grounds, have not been arrested by federal authorities, and therefore their bail in connection with the Philadelphia weapons cases should not be increased. But Wellbrock, who sought to have both defendants' bail revoked, argued that they had traveled to Washington to help incite the riot, during which 5 people died, including a Capitol police officer, in case you forgot. To support that claim, Wellbrook cited Macias calling Pence, quote, a Benedict Arnold, and saying, quote, the Insurrection Act is now, and, quote, the domestic enemies are here, as he pointed to the Capitol. Quote, the argument I said in court is that condition of bail is not to commit additional crime, and my argument is that they were down there inciting a riot, Wellbrock said after the hearing. There was no crime committed here by Mr. LaMotta, He is clearly just standing there, said Wimmer, who told the judge her client is a law-abiding citizen who has been married for 19 years, so, and has 2 teenage children, so, and an elderly grandmother for whom he is the primary caregiver. Okay, then, maybe you should stop carrying guns to the convention center and going to a riot in the Capitol. Take care of your kids. Take care of your mom. Great example you're leaving there for your teenage children. I'm sure they were proud. Quote, the government is basically asking Your Honor to deprive my client of liberty for going to the nation's capital and speaking at an assembly, said Brennan, whose verbal sparring with Bryant Powell resulted in her scheduling a February 4th hearing during which Brennan will have to show why he should not be held in contempt of court. Bryant Powell, who was sworn as a judge on the day of the Capitol riot, repeatedly accused Brennan of being disrespectful. Mr. Brennan, you're raising your voice and you're pointing at the court. I think we have a problem, the judge said. Brennan, a prominent Philadelphia attorney who's often animated in the courtroom, denied he was being disrespectful. Okay. I don't think we have anything today from CAROLYN. Or a horoscope. I don't see that either, but I do see a couple OBITS. I see a couple OBITS. Let's take the time to look at them peacefully. Who's this McCaffrey? That's it. Eileen McCaffrey. Passed away after complications of a stroke. Young. Born in 1954. She's survived by her loving husband, Joseph, 30 years. Eileen went to pursue a successful career as a certified public accountant after she attended the University of Pennsylvania Wharton School, class of 75. Excuse me. After spending over 40 years in the Philadelphia area and raising 2 kids, Joe and Eileen fulfilled a lifelong dream of moving to Florida, where they have been for the past year and a half. Eileen met her loving husband, Joe, in Avalon in the summer of '89, and after just over a year, they were married on November 11th, 1990. She enjoyed playing tennis, mahjong, and her most recent newfound love of pickleball. She was a lover of animals, and anywhere she went, she would learn all the neighborhood dogs' names well before she learned any of the owners' names. She enjoyed watching any parade, whether it was a small local parade or the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. She was an avid traveler, a love that she got from her mom, Betty. She has been to all 7 continents on trips she enjoyed with her husband, children, and extended family that were filled with so many incredible memories. Eileen was a wonderful mother, wife, sister, and friend, and she will be dearly missed by all. R.I.P. Robin Solis passed away from metastatic breast cancer. Leaves behind her devoted husband, J. Andrew Solis, M.D. She was a lifelong learner and was constantly taking enrichment classes purely for her own enjoyment. Her happiest moments were spent under Friday night lights watching Ben, her son, play football for Council Rock South, listening to Matt, her other son, deliver the commencement speech as COVID valedictorian at the Council Rock South graduation. Robin Wendy Solis. Rest in peace. Okay. Oh, surprise! Back of the page, CAROLYN time. I'm going out of order, but it's still CAROLYN time. See, I wasn't expecting it on the back page. I wasn't. And I also see a Scorpio horoscope we can read. It's like a little out of whack, but still here, right? CAROLYN. Okay. What is it that we are going to learn how to solve today? There's only one way to find out. And this has been adapted from an online discussion. I am fortunate that my 90-year-old mother is both financially well off and still physically able. Her mental capacities are starting to fade, though. For several months now, she has told me and my two siblings that she'd like to give us each 10,000 bones. Not $10,000. As she'd like to see us enjoy part of our inheritance now. All three of us are anxiously awaiting the money, as we can use it for bills or projects that we've been putting off. I love that qualifier. As we can use it for bills and projects. Come on. You just want the money. The bills and projects thing is like a little bit of a, qualifier. It's like a hedge. If we didn't have these bills or projects, we wouldn't have won $10,000. But because we got the bills and projects, it'd be nice. Then she'll drop hints that she wants a better Christmas present or more phone calls, that she's lonely, that all her friends have died. Then she'll admit her memory is failing. And then nothing happens for a month, and she starts the process all over again. I can see where CAROLYN's going to go with this. It's her money, and she can do anything she wants with it. But we all get the distinct feeling that she's dangling this gift to get attention. Any suggestions on what to say? Answer. Sigh. Yes, it's her money. She can do anything she wants with it. She's also 90. And you might as well give her the benefit of the doubt and decide she's forgetting, not manipulating. Then, give her all the time and attention you can reasonably manage to give her, whether or not she's dangling a gift just for the attention, because she's 90 and slipping and lonely. Also, I suppose you can say when she mentions the gift again, "That's so generous of you, Mom. Do you need us to do anything toward that?" If she doesn't bite on your offer, then stop anxiously awaiting this money. You will like her and yourselves and the outcome a whole lot better if you put in the time, effort, and love while expecting $0 from her during her life and upon her death. Yet anything you receive above that figure would be a lovely and welcome surprise. Yeah, what is it that people what is it that will make a person think that they have an ailing, dying, forgetful mother who mentioned $10,000 once, a couple times. How it doesn't matter. And that the main focus of attention is going to be getting that money. And not, I have a 90-year-old mom. Maybe I should just hang out with her, listen to her, and help her. And when the money comes, because she's going to probably die soon, because she's 90. I think about this too when I see emails or questions that come into CAROLYN or letters that people write to the editor that I'm like, what? I think about the process of writing that. I think somebody sat down and said, okay, today right this moment, my central focus, my central purpose is to craft this message, this email, this letter, this question. So all their energy, all their thought is whatever it is that they're writing. And this person, during this period in time in their day, of all the questions to ask, took the time to think through how to pose a question about getting money from their dying mom. And then spent the time writing it, proofreading it perhaps, emailing it to CAROLYN. There's got to be other things going on that you can maybe think are worth your focus. A little more than that. Just a thought. Now, let's see what kind of bogus Scorpio horoscope we have today. What's in store for Scorpios that really is not in store because it makes no sense? Ready? Let's find out. You're ready to release old memories and emotional baggage. Self-love and self-acceptance strengthen today. You're feeling truly grateful by the end of the day. Maybe not as bogus today as usual. I do have some guests coming. Actually, one guest coming today. A nephew. We're going to hang out. He just turned 11, so he's excited to hang out with his godfather. That could be a reason why at the end of the day I'm grateful. All right? Okay. Maybe today's horoscope wasn't entirely useless. Moving on to front section. And then we'll be done with the Inquirer. And then we'll see what we got with the New York Times. Another live read. The Times is a little bit more of a process on a Saturday. There's the book review section. I take the magazine out for later reading. But don't worry, I'm going to get on it. No question. Allison Beam named as a nominee to replace Rachel Levine as the state's health secretary. She assumed the role, Beam, of acting secretary, and she brings a background in law to a traditionally low-profile state government job that was vaulted into the spotlight by the pandemic. She's only 34. She takes over as more than 20,000 Pennsylvanians have died of the coronavirus. All right, Allison. Young blood. Here's again, Hank Aaron. Let's just show it because to honor the Hall of Famer, as well as the monumental kind of diversity and color barriers he broke. Worthy of recognition just as much as his 715th home runs. Sorry, 755 home runs. What do we got? Now we're going to move on to page A2 and A3. Rally organizers paid by the Trump team, the former president's campaign, gave $2.7 million to people and firms behind the January 6th event. Former President Donald Trump's campaign paid more than $2.7 million to individuals and firms that organized the January 6th rally that led to violent rioters storming the U.S. Capitol. Payments, which spanned Trump's re-election campaign, show an ongoing financial relationship between the rally's organizers and Trump's political operation. They were all made through November 23rd, the most recent date covered by Federal Election Commission filings. 8 paid Trump campaign officials were named on the permit issued by the National Park Service for the rally, including Maggie Mulvaney, the niece of Mick Mulvaney, Trump's former chief of staff, who resigned his position as special envoy to Northern Ireland after the riots. Maggie Mulvaney was paid $138,000 by the campaign through November 23rd. After the rally in which the president encouraged them to march in the Capitol, Trump supporters stormed the building. Megan Powers, listed as one of the 2 operations managers on the permit, was paid $290,000 by the Trump campaign. The biggest recipient of campaign funds, according to the report, was Event Strategies Incorporated, which was paid more than $1.7 million by Trump's campaign and joint fundraising committee. The firm's owners served as rally production manager and stage manager, respectively. COVID-19 vaccines by county in PA. What's the color coding mean exactly? Let's find out. Light blue, less than 3%. Less light blue, 3.3%, 3.9%. A little bit darker, 4 to 4.9. And the darkest blue, 5% or more. Percent of population 16 or older receiving at least 1 dose of the vaccine. So here's where I am. It's just scattershot. Ooh, 2020 home sales rise to a 14-year high. Sales of existing homes rose 0.7% in December, pushing the entirety of 2020 to a pace not seen in 14 years, providing one of the few bright spots for a U.S. economy mired in the global pandemic. Rising sales in the final month of the year lifted activity to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 6.76 million units in December. For all of 2020, sales rose to 6.49 million, the highest level since 2006, at the height of the housing boom. Median sales price was $309,800 in December, up 12.9% from a year ago. Good time to sell your house, but then you got to buy one, so kind of stuck. Like I said, Inquirer reads on Saturdays are typically a little bit shorter. I hope you enjoyed it, though. I hope you got a little bit of a nice start to the day, the newspaper read, prior to 8 a.m. And I'm going to be right back around with the times. I think I'm going to keep rolling. So look forward to seeing you again very soon.